Have you ever felt lost in a world overflowing with expectations, societal pressures, and conflicting advice? Have you ever wished for a compass, one that could guide your life without wavering, no matter how fierce the storms outside? Ralph Waldo Emerson's timeless masterpiece, Self-Reliance, is more than just a book. It's a powerful wake-up call urging us to return to ourselves, where true strength, wisdom, and enduring truth reside. This is a journey to rediscover and trust your inner voice, to live a life that is honest, bold, and deeply your own. Let's dive into this eternal philosophy, and you'll come to see that the key to all greatness lies within you: self-reliance. In a world that's constantly shifting, where every day we're surrounded by opinions, trends, and pressures from all directions, Ralph Waldo Emerson stood firm in one unshakable belief: absolute trust in yourself is the foundation of all success and happiness. This isn't about surface-level confidence. It's about a deep, unwavering belief in your own abilities, your inner wisdom, and your intuition. A kind of trust that doesn't waver in the face of praise or criticism. Emerson believed that each of us carries within us a divine spark, a piece of universal intelligence. When you learn to truly listen to the voice within, you're tapping into a source of truth and creativity that's far greater than any outside influence. The problem is, most of us ignore that voice. We trade it for approval, for safety, for the comfort of fitting in. We follow paths laid out by others, by society, by family, by fear, and we hesitate to stand alone. But why is self-trust so essential? Creative power. Every invention, every masterpiece, every bold idea began with someone who trusted their unique vision, even when others doubted them. Resilience. When you believe in yourself, you become far more capable of facing life's challenges. You don't crumble at the first setback. You adapt, learn, and keep going. Authentic living. Self-trust allows you to live truthfully, not as a copy of someone else, but as your original self, unrepeatable and irreplaceable. Inner peace. Real happiness doesn't come from pleasing others. It comes from knowing you are being true to your values, your voice, your path. So how can you begin to cultivate this absolute trust in yourself? 1. Listen to your inner voice. Take time each day to be quiet, through reflection, meditation, or simply walking in nature. Give yourself space to hear what's truly within you, beyond the noise. 2. Follow your intuition. That quiet nudge, that gut feeling, that whisper inside you. Don't ignore it. It often knows what your conscious mind hasn't yet realized. 3. Question your dependence. Notice where you're overly reliant on others' approval. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's right for me or because I'm afraid of disapproval? Then start making small, bold decisions on your own. 4. Learn from experience. Every mistake, every win, every moment of doubt, all of it teaches you something about who you are and what you're capable of. Trust grows when you see that you can survive, adapt, and thrive. 5. Let go of fear of judgment. You will never please everyone. That's not your job. Your job is to live a life that is honest, meaningful, and uniquely yours. 6. Celebrate your growth. Notice your progress. Acknowledge even the smallest victories. These moments reinforce that you are more capable than you think. Emerson challenges us to step away from society's definitions of success, to release the weight of external expectations, and to return to the deep well of wisdom already inside us. You don't need permission to be who you are. You don't need validation to trust your journey. What you need is the courage to follow your own light, because only then can you illuminate your true path and maybe even light the way for others. Self-trust isn't arrogance. It's not about believing you're better than others. It's about knowing that your truth matters, that your life has meaning, and that no one else can walk your path for you. That trust, deep, unshakable, and real, is the key to everything. There's a quiet but powerful pressure in society, the pressure to fit in, to blend with the crowd, to follow the rules and standards already set. Ralph Waldo Emerson in Self-Reliance boldly challenges this force. He urges us to reject conformity and live a life that's authentic, original, and true to the voice within us. To Emerson, when we try to blend into the crowd, we lose our uniqueness, our personal identity, and the very creativity that makes us powerful. Conformity, he warns, is the suicide of the soul. A person who constantly tries to please everyone ends up pleasing no one, not even themselves, and ultimately contributes nothing truly meaningful to the world. So why is rejecting conformity so important? It unlocks your full potential. Only by daring to be different can you uncover your unique talents, ideas, and abilities. Trying to fit in limits what you're capable of becoming. It fuels creativity and innovation. Every major breakthrough in history came from those who dared to think differently, act boldly, and challenge the old ways of doing things. It leads to a more meaningful life. Living by your own values, not someone else's, brings a deep sense of fulfillment that external approval can never provide. It shapes true leadership. Those who have the courage to be different are often the ones who lead, inspire, and set new trends instead of following existing ones. How can you start rejecting conformity and embrace living differently? 1. Recognize when you're conforming. Notice the moments when you're trying to meet others' expectations or following social norms that you don't truly believe in. Awareness is the first step to change. 2. Define your core values. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What do I believe in? What feels right in my heart, even if others disagree? 3. Practice courage. It takes courage to go against the crowd, to risk being misunderstood, criticized, or even laughed at. But remember, the greatest minds in history were often rejected before they were celebrated. 4. Align actions with beliefs. Don't just think differently, act differently. Let your values guide your decisions. Be intentional, even if it makes you stand out. 5. Accept temporary loneliness. Walking your own path might sometimes feel isolating. That's okay. It's not a sign that you're wrong, it's a sign that you're growing into independence. 6. Find your tribe. While you shouldn't rely on others for validation, finding even a few like-minded people who also live authentically can provide strength, support, and shared purpose. Emerson calls on us to be nonconformists, to challenge habitual thinking and blind tradition. He believed each of us has a genius within, a personal truth no one else can see and no one else can live. Don't become a pale imitation of someone else. Be you, raw, bold, and original. Your difference is not your flaw, it's your gift. In a world full of echoes, your voice, your true, distinct voice, is the rarest sound. Dare to let it be heard. In a world overflowing with data, opinions, and endless analysis, we are often taught to rely solely on logic, reason, and external sources to make decisions. While these tools are valuable, Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his timeless essay Self-Reliance, reminds us of another powerful compass: intuition. He believed that within each of us lies an inner lighthouse, a quiet, steady light that can guide us through the foggiest parts of life if we learn to trust it. Emerson didn't view intuition as mystical or irrational. To him, it was the voice of the oversoul, a universal intelligence that each individual is intimately connected to. He saw it as the whisper of the soul, a form of higher knowing that transcends conventional wisdom and societal norms. When you listen to your intuition, you're not escaping logic. You're tuning into a deeper logic, one that resonates with the truth of who you really are. So why is intuition so powerful? Because it often knows what the conscious mind can't yet explain. Intuition helps us see beyond what's obvious, revealing connections, insights, and truths that aren't visible on the surface. In moments of uncertainty, intuition offers a subtle yet compelling nudge. It's that inner knowing you feel when something just doesn't sit right, or when a quiet inner voice says, "This is the way." When we ignore this voice, we often find ourselves stuck, second-guessing, doubting, or chasing paths that don't belong to us. But when we embrace it, even if it feels risky or unconventional, we often end up on a path that feels right in our bones, even if we can't fully explain why. Here's how you can cultivate your connection to intuition and let it guide your life. 1. Make space for stillness. Intuition speaks softly. It rarely yells. In a noisy, distracted world, it's easy to drown out that voice. Take time each day to unplug from distractions. Sit in silence, go for a walk in nature, or simply breathe deeply. These moments of calm are when intuition speaks most clearly. 2. Notice your bodily reactions. Intuition often communicates through the body, a sense of peace, a flutter in the stomach, or an inexplicable pull towards something. Your body feels the truth before your mind rationalizes it. 3. Write down your impressions. When you have a strong feeling, a sudden insight, or an unshakable sense about something, write it down. Over time, you'll see patterns that help you distinguish between fear-based thoughts and intuitive guidance. 4. Trust your initial impulses. Intuition is often immediate. It comes before overthinking kicks in. Pay attention to those first thoughts, gut reactions, and hunches. They are often more accurate than we realize. 5. Don't expect perfection. Acting on intuition doesn't guarantee a smooth path, but it leads to growth, authenticity, and alignment with your true purpose. Mistakes are part of learning to trust yourself more deeply. 6. Protect your energy. The more time you spend around noise, chaos, and people who don't understand your values, the harder it is to hear yourself. Curate your environment so it nourishes your inner clarity. Emerson believed that intuition was the soul's compass. He encouraged us to step away from the noise of conformity, from the constant need for validation, and to start honoring the sacred whispers within. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string, he wrote, not as a vague philosophy, but a call to live boldly, guided by the wisdom that lives in your own soul. At the end of the day, your intuition is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the map drawn specifically for you, from within you. And when you learn to follow it, you stop chasing answers outside yourself and start walking the path only you were meant to walk. So listen deeply, trust fiercely, and let your inner lighthouse guide you home. From a young age, we are trained to become heirs, heirs to tradition, to accepted knowledge, to the beliefs of those who came before us. Society rewards those who conform, who preserve what's already been proven, who walk familiar paths. But Ralph Waldo Emerson in Self-Reliance offers a different kind of invitation. He urges us not to be heirs, but originators, not caretakers of yesterday, but creators of tomorrow. To Emerson, true freedom begins the moment we liberate ourselves from the inherited weight of the past and the social pressures of the present. Only then can we become authors of our own future. The danger of living as an heir is that it numbs our ability to think and act with originality. We become shadows, replicas of others, never fully alive in our own truth. He compares this life of inherited thought to being like a thumb cut off by another's hand, a vivid image of disconnection, powerlessness, and lack of authenticity. Emerson didn't believe that wisdom lies in blind repetition. He believed it arises when you challenge the known, listen to your own voice, and carve your own way through life. Why does independence in thought and action matter so much? Because originality changes the world. Every groundbreaking invention, every revolutionary idea, every cultural shift began not with obedience, but with someone daring to think differently. Because creativity is born where conformity ends. When we release the grip of rigid thinking, we make room for innovation.
We allow something fresh to rise, not borrowed, not recycled, but uniquely ours. Because leaders lead by thinking for themselves. They don't follow trends, they shape them. They don't wait for permission, they give themselves permission. Because freedom begins in the mind. If your thoughts are your own, your life will be too. You stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. You stop living someone else's plan and begin designing your own. Because personal growth demands personal thought. True self-awareness comes not from imitation, but from investigation. And that journey starts by asking, what do I really believe? So how do you cultivate this independence? 1. Question everything. Just because something is widely accepted doesn't make it right for you. Don't outsource your thinking. Interrogate ideas. Examine assumptions. Come to your own conclusions. 2. Learn broadly, reflect deeply. Read, listen, absorb, but don't copy. Let what you learn collide with your own values. Digest what resonates, discard what doesn't. Then form opinions that are truly yours. 3. Spend time in solitude. The crowd has a volume, solitude has a signal. In the quiet, your own voice becomes clearer. That's where you meet yourself. 4. Act on your beliefs. Independence isn't just internal, it shows in how you live. When you believe something deeply, honor it through action, even if no one else is doing it. 5. Accept risk and failure. Living independently isn't always safe. You may be misunderstood. You might stumble. But failure is the tuition for growth. Every mistake brings you closer to your truth. 6. Change your mind boldly. Truth isn't a final destination, it's a path you walk. As you grow, your views may shift. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. 7. Change your mind boldly. When new understanding arises, don't cling to old beliefs out of pride. Let humility guide you to higher ground. Emerson challenges us to become illuminators, not inheritors. He wants us to cast off outdated opinions, to tear down inherited prejudices, and to see the world through eyes unclouded by other people's fears. He knew that only by thinking for ourselves and acting from that place can we become powerful, authentic, and impactful. Independence isn't rebellion, it's awakening. It's not about rejecting everything from the past, but about building your life on what you have examined and chosen. It's about living consciously, not passively. So begin now. Dare to think your own thoughts. Dare to move in your own direction. That is how the world is changed, not by those who repeat history, but by those brave enough to rewrite it.
In today's world, we often find ourselves caught between the regrets of the past and the anxieties of the future. Ralph Waldo Emerson in Self-Reliance made a heartfelt plea for us to rediscover the extraordinary power of the present moment. He believed that all our strength and opportunities for change lie not in what has been or what might be, but in what is, right here, right now. According to Emerson, clinging to the past or rushing toward the future drains our energy and distracts us from recognizing the potential that already exists in our lives. The past is over. It cannot be changed. The future is uncertain. It will be shaped by the actions you take today. When you live fully in the present, you're not only maximizing your potential, you're taking command of your destiny. Why is living in the present so powerful? It releases your energy. When you're no longer weighed down by regrets or worries, your full focus and energy become available for what truly matters, now. Opportunities are here and now. Every solution, every idea, every breakthrough emerges from the present moment. A distracted mind misses what's right in front of it. Effective action begins now. Only when you're fully engaged can you work with creativity, precision, and clarity. Inner peace comes from presence. Worry stems from the future. Regret comes from the past. But peace? It lives in the now. You shape your fate.
You can't rewrite your past or predict your future, but you can control what you think, say, and do in this very moment. That's where your real power lives. How can you stay rooted in the present? Practice mindfulness. Spend a few minutes each day simply breathing, walking, or eating with your full attention. Let yourself be where you are. Stop multitasking. When you do something, give it your whole self, one task at a time, one moment at a time. Release the past. Recognize your regrets, mistakes, and emotional baggage. Learn from them. Then let them go. They no longer serve you. Look at the future without fear. It's wise to plan ahead, but don't let tomorrow's uncertainties rob you of today's peace. Believe in your ability to face what's coming. Stay focused on what's in front of you. Whether you're working, talking to a friend, or simply resting, let your mind be fully present. That's how you give meaning to your life. Engage your senses. Listen deeply. Feel the texture in your hands. Smell the air around you. Taste your food. Use your senses as anchors to the moment. Practice gratitude. Appreciate what you have right now. Gratitude isn't just about positivity, it's a bridge to the richness of the present. Emerson urged us to trust the eternal stream of the now. He believed every moment is a chance to begin again, to realign, to create. Don't waste your life dwelling on what cannot be changed or what hasn't yet arrived. Embrace the power of now. Act with purpose and presence. And from this very moment, you will begin crafting a future that radiates with clarity, joy, and meaning. In a world where people constantly chase trends, compare lives on social media, and mold themselves to meet standards they didn't create, the courage to be yourself becomes a quiet form of revolution. Ralph Waldo Emerson's timeless message and self-reliance shines a light in this noisy world. There is something sacred, powerful, and necessary in simply being who you are. Not a copy, not an echo, but an original. Emerson teaches that each individual is a unique expression of nature's design. You are not a mistake or an accident. You are a once-in-history event. When you reject your uniqueness to conform or please others, it's not just a personal loss. The world loses something irreplaceable. You were not meant to fit in. You were meant to stand true. Why does honoring your uniqueness matter so deeply? Because your purpose is tied to your truth. Your voice, your talents, your struggles, even your wounds, they form a path only you can walk. The more authentically you live, the more that path opens, revealing opportunities aligned with who you truly are. Because imitation is spiritual suicide. Emerson said it best, imitation is suicide. When you chase someone else's life, you abandon your own soul. You silence the whisper of intuition, and in doing so, you dim the light that only you can shine. Because authenticity brings peace. Living in truth doesn't mean life gets easier. It means life gets clearer. You sleep better, you stop performing, you no longer beg for validation because you've finally given it to yourself. Because your originality has power. The greatest thinkers, creators, and change-makers in history weren't successful because they copied others. They listened inward. They dared to be different. They gave the world something no one else could. Because joy grows from self-acceptance. You'll never find lasting joy in applause or praise. True happiness blooms when you stop needing to be anyone else and learn to cherish who you already are. Because your real connections come when you're real. The right people, the right opportunities, they don't find the mask. They find the truth. When you show up as your full, flawed, vibrant self, you invite in those who see and love you for exactly that. So how do you begin to express this uniqueness? First, get quiet enough to hear yourself. Spend time with your thoughts, your longings, your values. What brings you alive? What breaks your heart? What feels deeply right to your soul? Next, stop comparing. Comparison is like poison. It kills joy and courage. You are not behind. You are not less. You are simply on your own timeline, learning what only you are meant to learn. Challenge the pressure to conform. Ask yourself often, am I doing this for love or for approval? Is this true to me or just convenient? You owe it to yourself to find answers that come from within. Express your soul through creativity. Whether it's through writing, movement, design, speech, problem solving, or simply how you live, let your individuality be visible. That's how your soul speaks to the world. Honor your imperfections. The cracks in your story are not failures, they're texture. They make you real, relatable, human. They're the places where growth blooms and wisdom grows roots. Take risks. To be authentic sometimes means to be unpopular, to stand alone. But that loneliness is sacred. It means you're building a life that's real, not borrowed. Most importantly, trust that you are enough. This isn't about self-promotion. It's about self-ownership. Emerson didn't tell us to be loud. He told us to be true. You are not too much. You are not too weird. You are not too quiet or too bold or too late. You are the exact expression of something life wanted to say. Own that. Embody that. Let others follow the crowd. You follow your soul. Let others seek approval. You seek alignment. Let others chase perfection. You choose authenticity. Because in a world addicted to sameness, your uniqueness is not just your gift, it's your calling.
In life, it's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or fate when things don't go as planned. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, in Self-Reliance, urges each of us to fully accept responsibility for our lives. He believed that only when we take total ownership do we truly gain the power to shape our destiny. Blame, Emerson suggests, is a form of weakness, a refusal to own our influence over our own lives. When we blame, we hand our power to forces beyond our control. We become victims of circumstance, spectators of our own stories. But when we embrace responsibility, something shifts. We become the author, not the audience, the driver, not the passenger. Why is personal responsibility so powerful? Because it returns control to you. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start asking, "What can I do about this?" you reclaim the steering wheel. You're no longer waiting on life to improve, you're actively shaping it. Because it opens the door to growth. Blame locks you in place. Responsibility invites learning. It allows you to examine mistakes not with shame, but with curiosity. What did I miss? What can I do differently next time? Because it builds maturity. Owning your actions, even the messy ones, is a mark of growth. It takes courage to say, "This was on me." But in doing so, you step into your own power and become someone who evolves rather than repeats. Because it fuels progress. Complainers dwell in problems. Responsible people create solutions. They channel their energy not into excuses, but into change. Because it builds self-trust. Every time you choose responsibility over blame, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You prove again and again that you are capable of facing life head-on. So how do you live with this spirit of self-responsibility? Start by refusing to blame. The next time something goes wrong, catch yourself before you point outward. Ask, what role did I play here? What could I do differently next time? Recognize that you may not control what happens, but you always control how you respond. Your reaction is your responsibility, and often your greatest source of strength. Shift from "Why is this happening to me?" to "What can I do with this?" That single shift can transform frustration into clarity and helplessness into empowerment. Accept the consequences of your actions. Every choice comes with a price, good or bad. Responsibility means being willing to pay that price, learn from it, and keep moving. View failure as feedback. The responsible person doesn't crumble at the first sign of failure. They listen, they learn, they recalibrate.
They understand that every misstep holds a message. See challenges as invitations. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise, an invitation to rise, to grow, to demonstrate resilience and wisdom. And above all, commit to your own development. Take responsibility not just for the outcomes of your life, but for the ongoing work of learning, healing, and evolving. No one else can do it for you. No one else will. Emerson believed that life is a series of experiments and that each of us is the architect of our own destiny. When you take full responsibility for your life, you take the wheel with both hands. You become the one who charts the course. And that's not a burden, it's a liberation. Stop waiting to be rescued. You are your own rescue. Stop waiting for permission. You are your own authority. This is your life. Build it, shape it, own it. Because responsibility isn't a punishment, it's power.
In society, we are constantly encouraged to be consistent. Stay true to your word. Don't flip-flop on your beliefs. Remain loyal to the choices you made yesterday. We're taught that changing our minds is a sign of weakness or unreliability. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his timeless essay Self-Reliance, challenges this notion. He calls out the danger of foolish consistency, a trap that keeps people stuck in outdated versions of themselves. Emerson boldly writes, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds." In other words, those who fear change cling to their past opinions simply because they once held them, not because they still believe in them. True growth, he argues, lies in our ability to evolve, to adapt, to become more than we were yesterday, even if that means contradicting ourselves. Life is a flowing river, not a stagnant pond. We are meant to move forward, to shift perspectives as we learn, experience, and awaken to new truths. When we feel pressured to remain consistent with the past, we limit our capacity to grow, to be creative, and to live authentically. Why is false consistency? It blocks growth. If you're afraid to change your stance, you shut the door to personal development. You stop learning from your mistakes or adapting to new insights. It stifles creativity. Innovation comes from the courage to think differently, not just from others, but from your past self. It forces dishonesty. When you prioritize consistency over truth, you may find yourself pretending to believe things you no longer feel in your heart. It ties you to public opinion. Often, we cling to old ideas out of fear of being seen as inconsistent or losing approval. That's not freedom, that's dependency. It creates a rigid life. A life bound to the past can become narrow, repetitive, and ultimately unfulfilling. How can we break free from the trap of false consistency? Be open to change in your mind. When new information, insights, or experiences come your way, allow yourself the freedom to reassess your beliefs. Admitting you were wrong is not weakness, it's wisdom. Listen to your inner voice. Your intuition may be whispering new truths that go against what you once believed. Trust it. Let your present self speak louder than your past. Live in the now. Make choices based on who you are today, not who you were last year or what others expect you to be. Accept imperfection. You're human. Changing your mind means you're learning. It doesn't mean you're unreliable. It means you're growing. Stand strong in the face of criticism. People might accuse you of being inconsistent. Let them. The courage to grow matters more than the comfort of others' approval. See change as transformation. Every time you shift your thinking, you're not betraying your identity. You're becoming more of who you truly are. Be honest with yourself. Authenticity isn't about being consistent with your past. It's about being true to your present. Emerson urges us to live like a river, ever moving, ever renewing. He challenges us to speak boldly today and just as boldly tomorrow, even if what we say tomorrow contradicts everything we believed the day before. That kind of courage, the willingness to grow in public, to evolve without apology, is what marks a truly free mind and a powerful spirit.
Your past doesn't define you. Your growth does. So let go of the pressure to remain unchanged. Embrace the messy, beautiful truth that you are allowed to outgrow yourself again and again. In a world that often glorifies shortcuts, luck, and effortless success, Ralph Waldo Emerson offers a bold and refreshing perspective. Real work, honest, dedicated labor is not just a way to earn a living. It is the truest expression of self-reliance. For Emerson, work is not merely a duty or necessity. It is a sacred act of creation. It is how we turn thought into reality, potential into contribution, and existence into meaning. We live in an age where many seek the fastest route to results, but Emerson reminds us that fulfillment doesn't come from ease, it comes from effort. Every task done with care, no matter how small or invisible it may seem, holds deep value. Work is not something we endure. It's something that shapes us, develops us, and reveals who we really are. Why does honest work hold such unique power? It reveals your potential. Your skills, talents, and creativity only come to life when you apply them. Work is the stage where your inner capabilities become visible. It creates real value. Through your labor, whether it's crafting an idea, building a product, solving a problem, or serving someone, you generate something meaningful that didn't exist before. That's a miracle in motion. It builds self-trust. Every time you complete a job, no matter how humble, you add to your confidence. You begin to rely on yourself more, not just to survive, but to thrive. It cultivates discipline and resilience. Work demands structure, patience, and perseverance. These are not just professional traits, they are life tools that strengthen your independence. It connects you to others. Through work, you engage with the world. You participate in solving real problems and meet people with shared goals, needs, and dreams. It accelerates personal growth. Work challenges you. It stretches you beyond comfort, and in that stretching, you grow. So how do we embrace honest labor in a meaningful way? Seek work that holds purpose. You don't need a glamorous career to live meaningfully. What matters is that your work feels aligned with who you are or the impact you want to create. If you can't find your dream job yet, bring meaning into what you're doing now. Work with your whole heart. Emerson said, "Do your work and I shall know you." This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Whatever you're doing, do it fully. Let your work reflect your character. Focus on quality, not just quantity. True fulfillment comes from knowing you've given your best. It's not how much you do, but how well you do it, with care, pride, and integrity. Own the results. Be responsible for your work from start to finish. Blaming others or dodging accountability weakens your inner power. True self-reliance means standing by what you've created. Keep learning. To do better work, you must become better yourself. Keep expanding your knowledge and refining your skills. Let your work evolve as you do. Respect labor, all labor. Don't devalue physical effort or routine tasks. All honest work has dignity. Whether you're writing, cleaning, leading, or healing, what matters is the intention and heart behind it. Find joy in the process. Don't wait until the final outcome to feel proud. Let the act of working, the small daily wins, the discipline, the progress, be a source of satisfaction. Emerson believed that the reward of a thing well done is to have done it. He encouraged us to listen to the call within us, to do the work we were born to do. When you labor from that place, not for applause, not for money, but because it feels true to you, your work becomes a gift, both to yourself and to the world. In the end, the true power of work isn't in the paycheck. It's in the transformation. Honest labor doesn't just produce things. It produces people, stronger, wiser, more fulfilled versions of themselves. When you give yourself fully to your work, you don't just make a living, you make a life. In a society that constantly encourages connection, social interaction, and belonging to a collective, Ralph Waldo Emerson, in Self-Reliance, offers a provocative perspective. The truest beauty and strength are often found in solitude. But he doesn't speak of loneliness born from isolation or rejection. He speaks of a chosen solitude, a sacred space where you can hear your own inner voice, undisturbed by the noise, distractions, and expectations of the outside world. Emerson believed that to become truly self-reliant, one must be willing to withdraw inward, to think independently, to explore one's own ideas, and to connect with a deeper inner wisdom. When we're constantly surrounded by others, it becomes incredibly difficult to hear our most honest thoughts. We get swept up in the current of popular opinion, and our individuality fades. So why does solitude possess such quiet power and beauty? It deepens self-awareness. Solitude grants you the space to reflect on who you are, what you value, what you believe, and what you truly desire. These are questions that often go unanswered in a busy, connected life. It awakens creativity. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in art, science, and thought have been born in moments of solitude. When your mind is free from the noise of others, it can finally roam wild and connect ideas in new ways. It sharpens intuition. Your intuition, the subtle inner compass that knows what's right for you, can be drowned out by the opinions of others. Solitude allows you to hear that whisper clearly. It restores energy. Solitude isn't about escaping forever. It's about pausing. It's a space for restoration, where your energy can reset and your spirit can breathe. It strengthens independence. When you spend time alone, you practice the art of relying on your own judgment. You learn that your worth doesn't depend on external validation. How can you embrace the beauty of solitude? Set aside intentional time alone. Block out moments in your day or week to be by yourself. It could be a quiet morning walk, an hour reading in silence, or time spent writing or meditating. Disconnect to reconnect. Turn off your phone. Log out of social media. Silence the pings. In solitude, your presence with yourself should be complete. Find a quiet space. Whether it's a quiet park bench, a cozy corner at home, or a peaceful room, make space for solitude that feels safe and undisturbed. Reflect and journal. Write down your thoughts and feelings. Explore your ideas without judgment. This act of reflection brings you closer to your truest self. Avoid negative isolation. Solitude should not come from fear or avoidance, but from a desire to grow and recharge. The goal is to emerge stronger, not to disappear. Learn to enjoy your own company. At first, being alone may feel awkward or even painful, but over time, you'll begin to appreciate the clarity and peace that only solitude can bring. Emerson wrote, "The strongest mind is the one most alone." He wasn't suggesting permanent separation from others, but rather the ability to retreat into yourself when necessary, to listen, to reflect, and to realign. The beauty of solitude is not in avoidance, but in connection. Connection to the most authentic, powerful part of you. It's in this space that your thoughts become your own, your courage is reignited, and your self-reliance is reborn. When you return from solitude, you bring back a deeper understanding of who you are. And with that clarity, you can meet the world with strength, purpose, and a voice that is unmistakably yours.
Life is full of turbulence, unexpected challenges, emotional upheavals, and waves of uncertainty that can leave us feeling lost and ungrounded. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, in Self-Reliance, teaches us that there exists a deeper, quieter power within us, a peace that can remain unshaken even amidst chaos. This peace comes from unwavering self-trust and a belief in the unchanging harmony of the universe. For Emerson, peace is not about the absence of problems, but the presence of inner stillness and clarity. It's the kind of peace that arises when you trust your own inner wisdom, when you recognize that within you lies the strength to face anything, and when you believe that even the storms of life are part of a greater divine order.
When you cultivate this kind of peace, you no longer get swept away by the shifting tides of circumstance. You become an anchor of calm in a restless world. Why is peace in the storm such a powerful force? Clear decision-making. A peaceful mind is a clear mind. In difficult times, inner calm allows you to think with clarity, make wise choices, and act from reason rather than panic. Emotional resilience. Inner peace fosters emotional strength. It helps you bounce back from setbacks, turning failure into learning instead of lingering pain. Attracting positive energy. A calm presence radiates strength and positivity, drawing in solutions, support, and opportunity when you need them most. Better mental and physical health. Chronic stress wears us down. A peaceful inner state protects your body and mind, giving you energy and endurance. Inspiring others. Those who find peace in chaos often become a source of hope and strength for those around them. How can we cultivate this inner peace in the face of life's storms? Trust the order of the universe. Even when things don't make sense, believe that there's a deeper purpose behind events. Everything unfolds according to a higher rhythm. Practice letting go. Some things are beyond your control. Release the need to fix everything and focus on what you can influence, your mindset and your response. Live in the present. As discussed in Chapter 5, anchoring yourself in the here and now frees you from past regrets and future worries. Embrace mindfulness and meditation. These practices help quiet the noise, connect you with your inner self, and create a sanctuary of stillness in your heart. Nurture gratitude. Even when things are difficult, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude shifts your attention from what's missing to what's already good. Spend time in nature. Nature reminds you of the vastness and order of life. Its rhythms and beauty restore perspective and ground you in something greater. Listen to your intuition. That quiet inner voice, your inner lighthouse, guides you safely through the dark. Trust it. Act with intention. Even in uncertainty, respond rather than react. Let your actions reflect your values, not your fears. Emerson reminds us that the mind is the sanctuary of peace. He urges us to stop seeking serenity in external conditions and instead find it within. The storms of life may rage, but they don't have to shake the core of who you are. When you cultivate a solid foundation of inner trust and connection to your deeper wisdom, you become unshakable. Peace becomes not a distant goal, but a constant companion. And in doing so, you not only steady yourself, you become a lighthouse for others, guiding them through their own storms with quiet strength. In the journey of life, we are often taught to avoid mistakes at all costs. Society tends to judge and criticize those who stumble, pushing us to fear risk and retreat from the unfamiliar. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, in Self-Reliance, offers a bold challenge to this belief. He argues that mistakes are not marks of failure, but instead essential lessons, powerful stepping stones on the path of growth and maturity. To Emerson, making mistakes is not a sign of weakness, but of courage. Mistakes are proof that we're trying, learning, creating, and daring to explore the unknown. He believed that the man who makes the most mistakes, if he is honest with them, will ultimately do the most good. It is not the mistake itself that matters, but how we respond to it, whether we shrink back in shame or rise up in wisdom. So why are mistakes so valuable? 1. They teach us what nothing else can. Every mistake holds a lesson. When we pause to reflect on where we went wrong, we gain clarity, not just about the action, but about ourselves. We begin to understand patterns, triggers, and blind spots we didn't see before. 2. They unlock creativity and innovation. Fear of failure stifles our creativity. But once we make peace with the inevitability of mistakes, we free ourselves to experiment, to imagine, and to push boundaries. Innovation lives in trial and error. 3. They build resilience. Mistakes force us to confront our weaknesses. But by facing them, adapting, and moving forward, we grow stronger and more capable of handling whatever life throws our way. 4. They reveal who we are. How we handle our mistakes says more about us than any success ever could. They test our character, our humility, and our willingness to change. 5. They lead to unexpected breakthroughs. Many great discoveries were born from accidents. Penicillin, microwave ovens, even Post-it notes were all byproducts of errors. Sometimes what seems like a setback is simply life rerouting us to something better. 6. They keep us humble and human. Mistakes remind us that we are not infallible. They teach us to forgive, not just others, but ourselves, and to see people not for their flaws, but for their ability to grow. How then can we learn to embrace our mistakes? Shift your mindset. Don't view mistakes as dead ends. See them as redirections, information that helps you adjust your path. The road to wisdom is paved with detours. Reflect without blame. When you make a mistake, avoid harsh self-criticism or blaming others. Ask instead, what can I learn from this? Be gentle with yourself but firm in your desire to grow. Extract a clear lesson. After every misstep, take time to identify the lesson. What would you do differently next time? What part of you needs strengthening or healing? Act again bravely. Don't let the fear of repeating a mistake stop you from moving forward. Learn, adjust, and keep going. Momentum matters more than perfection. Share your experience. Telling others about your mistakes doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It builds trust and encourages others to be open about their own growth. Let go of the need to be perfect. No one gets it right all the time. Perfection is an illusion. What matters is your willingness to evolve. Celebrate progress over perfection. Focus not on flawless execution, but on how far you've come. Progress is messy, but it's real. Emerson once wrote, "The only person who never makes a mistake is the person who does nothing." In his eyes, mistakes were not setbacks, but signs of a life truly lived. He urged us to go forward and make mistakes. For it is through these stumbles, these unexpected lessons, that we mature, expand, and discover new dimensions of ourselves. So, don't run from your mistakes. Walk toward them with curiosity. Welcome them as teachers. They are not proof of failure, but of courage. They are not shameful, they are sacred. In every mistake lies a message, a new direction, a new piece of wisdom that, when embraced, becomes part of the mosaic of who you are becoming. In a world that often measures our value by wealth, social status, or public approval, Ralph Waldo Emerson in Self-Reliance pointed to something deeper, something unshakable, the power of self-respect. For Emerson, self-respect doesn't come from what you own or what others think of you. It comes from recognizing and honoring the sacred, untouchable worth that lives inside you. A person with strong self-respect is not easily swayed by praise or criticism. They are not driven to chase things that conflict with their values just to fit in. Self-respect becomes a fortress, a quiet strength that guards your independence, your integrity, and your inner peace. When you don't respect yourself, you begin seeking validation from others, and that, Emerson warns, leaves you vulnerable, easy to manipulate, quick to lose your way. Why then is self-respect so powerful? It defines your identity. Self-respect helps you understand who you truly are, what you stand for, and what you will no longer accept in your life. It sharpens your decision-making. When you respect yourself, your choices align with your values, not with other people's expectations. You stop living to impress and start living with intention. It builds healthy relationships. Self-respect sets clear boundaries. It attracts those who honor your worth and repels those who try to diminish it. It strengthens you in adversity. Believing in your value gives you the resilience to endure trials without breaking. You no longer crumble under pressure, you rise. It brings true happiness. Lasting joy doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from knowing, deep down, that you're living in alignment with who you really are. It fuels personal growth. Self-respect is the foundation that motivates you to grow, not because you're not enough, but because you honor your potential to be more. So how do we nurture and protect self-respect? Know your values. Get clear on the principles you believe in. Let them be your compass, especially when life pulls you in conflicting directions. Act in line with your beliefs. Don't let fear or social pressure push you into actions that violate your core values. Integrity is how self-respect is built. Stop comparing. Comparison weakens your sense of worth. Your path is unique. Your value isn't defined by how you measure up to anyone else. Accept your imperfections. You don't need to be flawless to be worthy. Embrace every part of yourself, even the messy and unfinished parts. Set firm boundaries. Learn to say no to what harms you or diminishes your value. Protect your peace. Guard your soul. Focus on your strengths. Identify your talents and accomplishments and build upon them. Let your gifts remind you of what makes you unique. Care for your whole self. Your physical, emotional, and mental health all contribute to your sense of self-worth. Make time for rest, healing, and self-care. Learn from mistakes, but don't let them define you. Mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. They do not erase your value, they refine it. Forgive yourself. Let go of past shame. You are not the sum of your regrets. You are the strength that rose after them. Emerson declared, "Your own mind is a sacred place." He urged us not to bow to anyone, but to stand upright in the quiet dignity of self-respect. It is not arrogance or ego. It is the holy recognition of your own divine worth. When you protect your self-respect, you are protecting a treasure more valuable than money, approval, or praise. You are honoring the very foundation of your freedom, your peace, and your ability to live a meaningful life.
In a world that often values safety, predictability, and proven formulas for success, Ralph Waldo Emerson offered a radical and liberating perspective in self-reliance. Life is not a static blueprint, but an ever-evolving experiment. He urged us to let go of the fear of failure and embrace the unknown, to view each moment as an opportunity for discovery, learning, and inner growth. To Emerson, progress never comes from treading worn-out paths. It comes from the brave souls who dare to try, to test, to explore new ideas and challenge conventional thinking. He saw every individual as a unique explorer, charting their own course, discovering untraveled lands both within their spirit and beyond in the world. Why viewing life as an experiment is so powerful? It awakens creativity. When you treat life as an experiment, you begin to let go of perfectionism. You become open to fresh ideas and different ways of doing things. You're no longer trying to avoid failure, you're trying to learn. It turns failure into feedback. Every experiment brings a result. Whether it works or not, it gives you valuable insight. Failure stops being a label, it becomes data. You reflect, adjust, and try again. It frees you from comparison. When you stop trying to follow a fixed route to success, you stop measuring your progress against others. You begin to forge your own way, driven by curiosity rather than competition. It makes life richer and more dynamic. A life of experimentation is never dull. It's a journey filled with questions, discoveries, and unexpected gifts. You begin to see every challenge not as a threat, but as a portal to deeper understanding. It builds resilience and adaptability. Life is in constant motion. Treating life as a series of experiments strengthens your ability to adapt. You become flexible, innovative, and unafraid of change. So how can you begin to live experimentally? 1. Shift how you see failure. Don't define failure as a lack of success. See it as a necessary step in uncovering what works. Every failed experiment brings you closer to the truth. 2.
Ask more what-if questions. What if I approach this problem differently? What if I tried this project I've been putting off? These questions open the door to new possibilities. 3. Try something unfamiliar. Start a hobby you've never considered. Take a class outside your comfort zone. Challenge yourself to learn or experience something different each month. 4. Track your experiments. Reflect on the results of what you tried. What went well? What surprised you? What can you tweak or explore further? 5. Detach from outcomes. Instead of obsessing over success or failure, focus on the process itself. Joy often comes from doing, not achieving. 6. Stay open to surprises. Experiments don't always go according to plan. Embrace the unexpected. Sometimes what you didn't intend leads to something extraordinary. 7. Learn to be comfortable with uncertainty. Life is not meant to be fully controlled. Let the unknown excite you rather than scare you. Trust your ability to grow through it. 8. Trust your inner compass. You have the ability to learn, adjust, and evolve with every experience. The more you experiment, the more confidence you'll build in your own wisdom. Emerson reminds us, life is a great experiment. He invites us to move forward boldly, make mistakes without shame, and see every step as part of a grander unfolding. It is through experimentation, through the risk of falling and the willingness to rise again, that we uncover not only what the world has to offer, but who we truly are. So stop waiting for the perfect conditions. There's no right time to begin. Your life is your lab, your canvas, your adventure. Try something new. Break your own patterns. Keep what works, let go of what doesn't. And above all, never stop exploring.
After exploring the essence of self-reliance, from trusting oneself, resisting conformity, listening to inner wisdom, and thinking independently, to embracing the present, accepting failures, and treating life as an ongoing experiment, Ralph Waldo Emerson, in the final chapter of Self-Reliance, offers a greater vision. The legacy of self-reliance is not merely personal success. It is living a life of eternal meaning, one that leaves an indelible mark on the world. Emerson believed that when a person lives fully in alignment with their inner truth, they not only enrich their own life, but also become a beacon for others. True legacy, he argued, is not found in material wealth or fleeting fame. It's found in the lasting impact of a life lived with authenticity, courage, and integrity. What does the legacy of self-reliance look like? A ripple of influence. When you live your truth, you unconsciously give others permission and courage to do the same. Original contributions. Self-reliant individuals are often the ones who bring forth groundbreaking ideas, bold innovations, and creative works that cannot be replicated, enriching culture and human understanding. Resilient spirit. The legacy of self-reliance is a strong inner spirit that does not break under pressure, but finds strength from within, adapting and rising anew. Trailblazing paths. Those who rely on their inner compass often forge new paths, ones that others will one day follow. Honest and upright living. A self-reliant life is one free from pretense, where words and actions reflect deep personal values, not borrowed scripts from society. Inner fulfillment. Such a life brings a kind of peace and satisfaction that external validation can never provide. How can one build a legacy of self-reliance? Live each day with purpose. Understand clearly who you want to be and what you wish to contribute to the world. Pursue lifelong growth. Self-reliance is not a destination. It's a continuous journey of learning, evolving, and deepening your understanding of yourself. Follow your own vision. Don't let criticism or doubt from others steer you away from what you believe in. Your path is yours alone. Share your unique gifts. Whether it's your insight, creativity, skills, or compassion, give generously from your authentic self. Lead by example. Let your life speak louder than your words. Inspire others not by preaching, but showing what self-reliance looks like in action.
Cultivate inner stillness. In a world of noise and chaos, learn to hold on to peace, clarity, and conviction that comes from deep within. Let go of control over legacy. True legacy isn't about manipulating how you are remembered. It's about living so honestly and wholeheartedly that your presence leaves a natural, undeniable impression. Emerson closes with a powerful call to action. The greatness of man lies in the fact that he is a source, not a channel. He urges us to be creators, not imitators, to live without regret, to shape a life grounded in inner truth rather than external approval. The strength of self-reliance isn't just in helping you succeed, it's in helping you live meaningfully. It's in leaving behind not jewels or monuments, but a legacy of truth, courage, and inspiration. Are you ready to become the fullest version of yourself? And in doing so, leave behind a legacy that will outlive your name?
Together, we've walked through the profound chapters of self-reliance, where Ralph Waldo Emerson offered us not just a philosophy, but a way of living. A way of living that doesn't follow the crowd, doesn't bow to the noise of the world, but is guided instead by our inner compass, our intuition, and the truth that lives within us. From learning to trust ourselves, to rejecting conformity, listening to our inner voice, embracing failure, honoring the present, and boldly walking our own path, everything leads to one truth: you are the center of your own life. And only when you have the courage to fully live from that center do you truly begin to live, not just exist, not live for others, but live freely, authentically, resiliently. Now, you don't have to wait for someone to validate you. You don't need to perfect yourself before you begin. You are ready the moment you decide that you are worthy of a life that truly belongs to you. So begin. Trust that voice within, even if it sounds different, even if it makes you feel alone. Choose to live with integrity, even when the world offers you shortcuts for obedience. Create, love, walk a path no one else has paved, and let your footsteps light the way for others. Don't just read self-reliance, live it, be it, inspire through the way you show up in the world. Because in a time when everyone is trying to be the same, being entirely yourself, freely, fearlessly, and fully is the most extraordinary thing you can do. And that is the most beautiful legacy you can ever leave behind. The journey begins within, and it begins today.